Hello and welcome to another Friday reading vlog from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. It's quite a busy Friday reading vlog, got a few bits to do today, but the number one bit I'm doing before any other bits happen is I'm going to sit in bed and finish The Queen of Dirt Island by Donna Ryan. I am in the process of collecting books that are on the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. You may well have seen my reaction video. If not, I'll link it down below. It's a live show where the Women's Prize for Fiction long list, which is a long list of books that I get excited about every year, went live on Tuesday evening. 16 books. I owned 0. I owned none of them. And I went onto my library apps and I put reservations on 13 of them. I hadn't read any of them either, by the way. Put reservations on 13 of them over the 2 libraries that I use. And 3, one I've been listening to the audiobook of, that's River East, River West, which I'm quite enjoying. And then the other 2 I haven't been able to get hold of. I've even looked on Amazon to see if they're available, and they're not. No, they're out of stock until the end of March. So I'll hang on, because I just wanted immediacy, because the book maths I've made is that if I read one of the books every 6 days, so out of the 16 books, in order to have the whole long list read by the day that the winner is announced, I have to read one of the books every six days. Well, the first day that the first one's due is on Monday. Now, I do have one in my possession because I'm listening to an audiobook of it, so I think there's going to be quite a lot of audiobook listening to today, which is fine. It's a beautiful day. I could go out for a nice walk. I've got to go to my mum and dad's anyway to use their tumble dryer. David and I got new towels for Christmas. No, not for Christmas. Just after Christmas, I treated David and I to new towels. And they're beautiful and big. I got them from Snag, actually, where I get a lot of my tights from. And they're so much nicer when you put them in the tumble dryer. So my mum and dad are on holiday, so I think I'm going to go around there. I'll probably wash them here and then tumble dry them at my mum and dad's. So I'll listen to the audiobook when I'm around there. There are 2 books on their way to me at my local library. They started being on their way to me on Wednesday. So there is a chance they won't arrive today. They might arrive tomorrow. I mean, you're going to be with me this whole journey. Let's just have a look. Libraries. And see, I mean, I don't think the library's even open. Oh yeah, it opens at, does it open at 9 or 9:30? So I have got books to pick up from the library anyway, but the reservation's not yet available, but on their way to me. So, oh, the Wren's on the way to me as well. So, Brotherless Night is on its way to me, and has been on its way to me, I think, since Wednesday, maybe even Tuesday. I think, oh, yeah, it's frozen. It's frozen. So I'm going to keep checking the website. And then the Wren, and then the other one is the 8 century-year-old Trickster, or the 8 Lives of a Century-Year-Old Trickster. So they are all on their way to me, but that doesn't mean that they're like waiting to be picked up. They could be coming from the other side of the county. So I'm going to keep an eye on the website, even though it's frozen at the moment, and hopefully go and pick up one of the books that I can start reading for the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. But more on that later. But for now, the concentrating moment is to finish this, which I really enjoyed, The Queen of Dirt Island by Donna Ryan, which I'm reading for the women's, no, not for the women's, for the Irish Readathon. We're 30 pages from the end. This angle isn't going to be forgiving on me. What an angle, I've got you clamped between my knees. Just finished Queen of Dirt Island. Really enjoyed it, really enjoyed it. The writing style of this sort of goes one of 2 ways for me. I either really connect with it or it goes completely over my head. It's one of those ones where there's just no punctuation in terms of around the speech and things like that. But this just, the way the people were talking to each other in this just absolutely flew off the page. I really enjoyed it. 4 generations of women living in Nina, in County Tipperary, all sort of living in the same home, and yeah, just wonderful, just really wonderful. Lots of sort of ins and outs of their lives and their sort of surrounding family and stuff. Yeah, enjoyed it a lot, really enjoyed it. So yeah, great. David's made me a cup of tea. I think you're on the wonk a bit. Can I move you up? No hands, no hands, no hands. David's made me a cup of tea. And I think I'm going to go to the lounge. Hello, Dappy! We'll get Dappy up on the bed. She doesn't do anything I ever ask her to do. You coming up on the bed? No, no, not. I'm going to take my cup of tea, go into the lounge, have a look and see if any of the books have arrived at the library yet. Don't think they would have done. Put a load of washing on, pick out the stuff for today, etc, etc, etc. Have a shower, get ready, then check to see if there's any books in the library, then do this, then check to see if there's any books in the library, etc, etc. So I'll see you in the lounge. Well, there we go. One book finished for you already. God, I love this. I love this dressing gown so much. David got it for me for Christmas. So yeah, one book finished. Pleased with that. Now, as I mentioned, I'm keen to get started on a Women's Prize for Fiction longlist book. As I briefly explained earlier, I've got some on reservation. So the library that's nearest to me, a walking distance from me indeed, has got, that's just Daphne playing with some toys, has got 3 of the books on its way to them. 3 of the books on its way. Let's have a look and see. I mean, they might come in today, they might come in tomorrow, they might not come in until next week, but it would be really, really nice to be able to start one, because the book math says I've got to get them done one every 6 days. Right, so that was sent to my library on the 6th, which was 2 days ago. So that there's a small chance that could arrive today. I don't even know if they get delivery. I know they get deliveries on a Friday, because I've been there before where they said, oh, these have just come in. So maybe they get deliveries every Friday. Maybe they don't. And that's Brotherless Night by VIII Ganeshathan. The website seems to have taken a really long time this morning. But I will keep checking it all day. They have quite a long lunch break. They have like an hour-and-a-half lunch break at my library. So if it hasn't come in this morning, maybe it'll come in this afternoon. But I've got enough to be getting on with, including cakes. Right, so let's talk through the rest of the day. So obviously I want to pick up another book, because if those books don't come in, I want to be able to pick up another book. But I want it to be a book that I could potentially put on pause whilst I'm reading one of the books from the Women's Prize and come back to it. And books that I can put on pause in my head are non-fiction books and are short stories maybe. So I've picked 2 non-fiction books, one that I mentioned last week and a short story collection. All of these were on my Irish Readathon TBR, because we're still in March and the Irish Readathon's still going on. So the one I mentioned last week is You Don't Know What War Is by Yeva Skalietska, and this is the diary of a young girl from Ukraine who leaves Ukraine and then takes and begins to live in Ireland, and it's about her joining school and things like that. It's got her journey lined out here, how they got to where they got to, and what they took, like the journey they took and things like that. So yeah, I'm keen to read that. I've also got Dara McNulty, Diary of a Young Naturalist, and I've been meaning to read this like since I think about April last year. I picked it up thinking I'll read that for the Irish Readathon next year. And this is non-fiction as well, about Dara McNulty and sort of the natural world through Dara's eyes, an autistic teenager coping with the uprooting of homeschool and his mental health whilst pursuing his life as a conservationist and environmental activist. Shifting from intense darkness to light, recalling his sensory encounters in the wild with blackbirds, whooper swans, red kites, hen harriers, frogs, dandelions, Irish hares and more, McNulty reveals worlds we have neglected to see in a stunning work of nature writing that is a future classic. Great. And then the short story collection is After a Dance by Bridget O'Connor. This was published this year. This is a proof copy. Bridget was a screenwriter along with her husband, and most probably well known for writing the adaptation of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. And Bridget died in 2010, aged just 49 from cancer. So yeah, so that's another one that I feel like I could stop and start up again because it's short stories. So there's 3 options. I'm very tempted by this. Well, I'm tempted by all of them. I wouldn't have picked them up if I wasn't tempted by them. I don't really know what to do. I mean, the weekend's plans for themselves. So like, although today I've got a few bits to do, from tonight, David and I had always earmarked this weekend to just absolutely watch all of the series of, all of series 2 of the Australian Traitors. It's Mother's Day on Sunday, so we will be going to see David's mother on Sunday. But apart from that, we had decided that that's what we were going to do with our weekend, and we'd earmarked this weekend because we've got a lot of cross stitch to do for David's sister's present, and we just thought it would be nice to sort of sit and do that and just have a lovely time together. So it's a downtime weekend, but a lot of that's going to be watching telly. Could I do 2? Well, let's talk through the other stuff here and then we'll start, because maybe I'll start with a short story, because I can flick in between these two, and even this one maybe. We'll see. Right, okay, so the rest of the weekend, the other stuff we do for the reading vlog is that the cakes I'm going to be making, we're into muffin land now, guys. We've left tray bake behind. I've been slowly working my way through cooking every cake in the sweet roasting tin, and we're in muffin land. And I remember, because I'm not looking too far ahead in this book because I want these things to come as a surprise, but I remember from muffin land that there are some savoury muffins in here, so I'm very excited. But this week is not savoury muffins, this week is blackberry cream cheese muffins. I hope they go all right. I really, really do. It'll be nice to be able to cook muffins, and then, because they're easy to distribute, aren't they? But yeah, blackberry cream cheese muffins today, the first of the muffin section, so we'll be making those a bit later on, or maybe this morning. As ever, we'll be reading at the end of the vlog a poem for every spring day. It's looking more and more like spring out there as well. And I'll be listening to a piece of classical music from A Year of Wonder, and we'll be having a little think about that. Right, another one of the books only got sent to me yesterday, so I doubt that will be here anytime soon. This is slowly loading up. And then the Wren. So there's 3 on their way to me. And that got sent to me yesterday as well. So it'd be wonderful if Brotherless Night turned up today. I could get cracking with that. And then the other 2 turned up next week. And then I haven't even looked at the other library, which is nearer to where I work. Then I've got this wonderful box of little prompts that my friend Jen sent me for my birthday. This was the last one I opened. It's a coaster with a British blue on there, and my cat Daphne is indeed a British blue. So I think we've got 7 more in here. Read a book that fits with the season and make seasonal snack or meal to go with it. I don't know that any of these things, no, none of those sit with that. That's a great one though, I'm looking forward to doing that. Read an arc, so, and this only counts if I finish the book as well. So if I was to finish this, then I would be able to do that. Read an arc. Read one of the largest books on your TBR. None of those are the largest books on my TBR. Read a book you heard recommended on a podcast. None of these I've heard recommended on a podcast. Read one of the oldest books on your TBR, either you've owned it for ages or it was published a long time ago. I haven't had any of those for a particular, there's books there that I've had a long, long time. Read one of the shortest books on your TBR, and none of those are particularly short. God, I'm so excited about all of these little treats. So the only one I potentially could open is Read an Arc, and that's if I finish After a Dance by Bridget O'Connor, which would be unlikely, just because when I read short stories collections, they ordinarily take me a little bit longer, because I like to I don't like to just go through it and read it as a novel. I like to read a short story and then have a break and then maybe come back to it. But I mean, like I said, there is a chance it could happen, but we'll see. And then the question we are going to answer, I read one of these questions out from the Lit Chat questions. We are so nearly all the way through them. So there's 50 of these cards and they've got 2 questions on, and I've been working my way through them since we started these Friday reading vlogs, which was not last September, the September before, September 2022. And we've done the Christmas one twice because there's Christmas questions on it. But we're now down to 5 cards before we go on to back to the beginning and start with the second question on the card. And then God knows what I'm going to do when we get through all of these. Right, so I mean, we can have a look at these now. So we've got The Book Thief, The Namesake, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, The God of Small Things, and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I'll take, so each of them, so the front covers of these denote a different type of question. So some of them are like about reading, some of them are about like being in a book and stuff like that. They've all different things. So there's 3 of the Reader's Way left, so I'll take one of those. We'll go for The Namesake. Oh, great question. Great question, of which I'll be interested in all your answers. So I'll answer at the end of the video, and then I ask you guys to answer in the comments below. So this is The Namesake, and it says, do you pay attention to who the publisher is? Do you have a favourite publisher? great question. Do you pay attention to who the publisher is? Do you have a favourite publisher? Looking forward to hearing people's answers on that. Right, well, there we go then. So I think I'm going to make myself a little bit of breakfast, then have a shower. I'll read while I'm having a little bit of breakfast. Then I've got a few admin bits to do. I'll do those, and then I'll meet you back here when I'm dressed and I've started one of these books to tell you how I'm getting on. Oh, one more thing. The cross stitch is coming along quite well. We've done one of Mickey's ears. We're not sure if Mickey's face is going to fit in this hole, but we're hoping. But yeah, and I've started, so David, for every 2 of these that David does, I do one. So David did The Evil Stepmother and Gaston, and I did This Ugly Sister. And then David's done This Ugly Sister and LeFou, I think his name is, and I'm halfway through doing The Queen of Hearts. And I've also been adding these like yellow bits in the background. But that's for David's sister's birthday, which is next weekend. So we need to crack on with that. But like I said, a whole weekend of watching telly and stuff. So, go and get some breakfast, read a short story from this, give this a little go, and yeah, we'll see how we get on. I'll meet you back here a bit later on. All right, bye. Well, a few little admin jobs done, and I'm about to put the towels on to wash, make the cakes while they're doing that, then have some lunch, by which point the library might be open. Then I can check and see if my library books are in. If not, I'll go to my mum and dad's, tumble dry the towels, la 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 la. I am not going to read this. I read the introduction, the first story and then the second story, and I just don't feel like it's for me, whether that be at this time or whether that be ever. I've given up on it. I'm very particular with my short story collections. I tend to know sort of instantly if I'm gonna get on with them, and I just feel like I wasn't. So, but I have read almost 100 pages of You Don't Know What War Is by Yeva Skalietska. So at the moment we're following Yeva. She's still in Ukraine. Her and her grandmother have escaped to one of her grandmother's friends on the perimeter of Kharkiv. It's just horrifying, particularly in light of what's going on all over the world. But yeah, there's lots of flies everywhere. So yeah, and to be 12 and putting all this down in a diary, just horrifying. But we will continue to read it. So yeah, like I said, 90 pages I've read of that. So I'm going to now start listening to the audiobook of one of the Women's Prize long list books. So I have been listening to this. This is the only one that I've currently got my mitts on. It is River East, River West by Orb Ray Lescure. And I have got 9 hours and 51 minutes left of this. So this, as this is the only one I've got my hands on, this is the one that I really need to have done by close of play Monday. So I will listen to this for the rest of the day. I will listen to this while I'm cooking my lunch and baking the cakes and maybe doing a bit of cross stitch later and driving to my mum's and going to the library, and we'll see how much we can get on with it. So 9 hours 51, sorry, and see how much I'm on by the end of the day if I'm not sitting and reading. So let's go and get all the bits for the baking. I'm really, really excited about these cakes. Well, here we go. So, oh, David, I need your help.
Yeah, all right.
Because this is muffin time. I'll make this up a bit.
Put some clothes on.
Put some clothes on. We've got, both of these, a lot of the stuff we own is stoneware from my days of working for Pampered Chef. And this is something that we use for puddings, but these, which I bought online from Amazon, I've got 100 of them. I think they were like $7.99 for 100. They fit in there perfectly. So that holds 6. This is enough to make 12. So whether or not I do 2 batches of that, and then the other tray we've got, I'm not sure these are going to fit in, but we'll see, and we'll try both, because by the end of this chapter, hopefully I'll be good. This is the first time I've made muffins, so out of this book, so hopefully it will work out okay. But let's get all the bits. So, 250 grams of self-raising flour. One level teaspoon of baking powder. Let's go! very nice looking lunch, isn't it? Quinoa, pickled carrot, 10 to 10 broccoli with like oregano and stuff on it, a tomato, and some hummus with some za'atar on top. And a book. I had at Nando's a couple of weeks ago something called the Rainbow Bowl, which was basically all of these things. Their grains are a lot better and they've got some like feta and stuff on, which I would have put if I'd have had. In fact, when I had this yesterday, because this is the second time I've had this in a row, I put a bit of leftover goat's cheese on it. So, and they also have coleslaw, which I don't have, and I also had halloumi on it when I had it. But it's a really, really nice lunch. The pickled carrot was so easy. Basically, the end of a jar that had pickled onions in it, I always hang on to the vinegar because it's always lovely and tasty. I just grated 3 carrots into it. Had half yesterday, and the other half today. The cakes are almost done. By the time I've eaten my lunch, they should be done. And then I'll eat them for you. For you, I will eat them. Hot. The little muffins look great. They might be a little bit too warm still, maybe. But I've made 12. It also says that it's best to eat them on the day because the crunchiness doesn't.
We've got to eat 12 muffins.
I'll drop some off to my sister.
Well, I'm never one to back down from a challenge.
They smell amazing.
Yeah,
the ones that went in the deeper pans have definitely cooked more. They feel quite dense. It does say to eat them when they're warm. I don't know if this might be a little bit on the warm side.
Oh.
Yeah, look.
Oh yeah.
Steam. But, well, yeah, nice bits.
Yeah, let's try a bit. Cheers.
Any bits with that it might be. Sorry, I've already eaten some. Cheers. The top bit is lovely.
Oh yeah.
The crunchy bit's really nice.
Yeah, the centre really needs to cool down.
What? Stole it. Wait, it doesn't. But yeah, it's really nice.
Oh yeah.
The top's lovely with the demerara on it. That's weird, isn't it? Sugar making something lovely.
That's what it's meant to do then, eh? Oh, it's lovely.
I'm going to send a picture of them to my sister and say, one each of these available for pickup.
Yeah.
We'll have to spend 2 hours getting rid of my niece because she'll be crying, so she doesn't want to go.
Standard Friday.
Cool, well done.
Oh yeah, well done, bub. It might be my favourite thing you've made.
Well, I was actually thinking, because we get a lot of blackberries around here in like August, September time, I will make these again with 3 blackberries from the bushes. We live amongst some. Yeah.
God,
They're lovely and light, aren't they?
Yeah. I just wish I could learn not to inhale everything.
I wish it too. Whenever
I'm not even sucked my tea.
I make something that's nice, I'm like, bloody hell, I can actually do it. So, yeah.
So, how do you feel like your journey has been progressing on the baking front?
It's a very good book, The Sweet Roasting Tin. Very easy to follow with minimal instructions.
Yeah.
Minimal ingredients, sorry, and maximum instructions. And I feel like the tray bakes were getting better and better until last week's, which we didn't like.
No, but I mean, but the cook's there, isn't it? As in, like,
I also burnt last week's for the first time.
But we think that might have been my fault. We're not 100% sure, are we?
Somebody else said they thought on the video, I said set an alarm for 35 minutes, and they thought Alexa said 45 minutes back, which might be why it burnt.
Oh, maybe.
But I didn't notice that. So yeah, but
This is
for the
delicious.
muffins, God.
Yeah.
So I was concerned. I was feeling comfortable in my tray bake life. But gorgeous.
Yeah. Because you know what, I was about
really nice.
About to ask you a question. Have you, like, because this is the only time you bake, but you don't really have any other time to do it, really. So I was just about to say, have you wanting to do baking in other times?
No, but you make.
It's nice from the background, isn't it?
Doesn't it?
I've just been hoovering.
But you make cookies for people's birthdays and stuff, and you made a loaf for your dad.
Yeah, that's true.
I would definitely make those again for a
Yeah,
gift.
they're really
very
nice. Yeah.
Cheers. So, the deal is, I've just gone onto the library page and it said that I had 5 available for pickup, and previously I only had 3 available for pickup. So I was like, amazing, they're here. But it's not. It's 2, it's 2 other ones. I mean, they're both exciting ones. They're Winter Animals and Speak Okinawa, a memoir. But not the ones that I was after. And then I did have a look, because I've got one that's been on its way to me since the 20th of February. So just because it was sent on Wednesday, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be here. I've got to go to the library today anyway, because I've got a book due back that can't go back. It's Playing Games by Huma Qureshi. Didn't even get around to reading this, but so I've definitely got to go. So I'll take this and drop and pick up the other 5. And then while I'm there, I'll just say, have they arrived? But I don't think they have. So I think the main focus of this weekend in terms of Women's Prize reading is to listen to River East, River West, which I'm very much enjoying, so that's good. Meow, says Dappy on the windowsill. The other good news is that on my library nearest my work, Night Bloom by Peace Adzo Medi is in, which is actually one that I'm most excited about on the list, and it's the only one I predicted. It's about cousins, so, and you know, I've got a very close relationship with my cousin, so yeah, I've been looking forward to reading that. So that one will be picked up on Monday and started on Monday, and hopefully I'll still be able to get the audiobook done. So I'm just going to put the towels on spin and then we go around, and I'll take you with me, and I'm going to finish off You Don't Know What War Is by Yeva Skalietska while I'm around there, and then start on something else. Maybe I could take Lobster as well by Holly McNish, which I bought when I went to see her the other weekend. Yeah, I think I'll take that with me too. It would be really nice if one of them was there, because then I could start that, but I don't think they're going to be. I think I need to resign myself to resign yourself. I don't know why David moved the table that has all of the cross-stitching stuff up by the books, and instead of me moving it back to the sofa where it is, I was like, oh no, I'll sit down by here. But anyway, I thought what I would do now is, whilst I'm waiting for the washing to finish spinning, is to listen to the piece of classical music for today and do a little bit of my cross-stitch. Mine and David's. It's David's cross-stitch, but I'm lending a hand, and I'm in the throes of doing the Queen of Hearts there. I'll link the pattern that David bought. It's a pattern that we bought off of Etsy. We've been doing a bit of pattern buying off of Etsy. And the good thing about this one is that once you own it, because it's in the shape of Mickey Mouse, but all of the villains, we then own all these like we've now got, we could use these individually on like bookmarks and stuff because they're a good width. So yes, but let's listen to the piece of music for today, which is, what's the date today, Daphne? It's the 8th, because I should remember, because I've got library books due back. The piece we're going to be talking about today is called O Dolce Mio Tesoro, Oh My Sweet Treasure, from Sesto Libre di Madrigali, which sounds like it's from Encanto, by Carlo Gesualdo, who lived between 1566 and 1613. Irrefutably badass is not an obvious phrase to reach for when discussing a late Renaissance lute player and a composer whose output which was chiefly a cappella madrigals and settings of sacred texts. But that's how Alex Ross, esteemed music critic of The New Yorker, views Don Carlo Gesualdo, and I've never found a better yet description. For better or worse, classical music has a reputation for being... No, Daphne. Out you go. Has a reputation for being a rather staid affair, its practitioners well-behaved servants at court who busy themselves with, say, counterpoint and harmony. Gesualdo, who's born on this day, rather obliterates the stereotype. He suffered from manic depression, he murdered his wife, he was embroiled in the Spanish Inquisition and a witchcraft trial, and he was eventually beaten to death by his servants in a kind of masochistic rampage. But then he goes and writes this insanely beautiful music. Gesualdo was astonishingly, perhaps diabolically inventive. His unhinged harmonies were revelatory. No wonder Stravinsky and Schoenberg cited him as a model for their own radical innovations. Describing Gesualdo as one of the most personal creators ever born to my art, in 1960, Stravinsky reworked at least a dozen of his madrigals by hand and compiled them in his monumental Pro Gesualdo di Venezia, which was later turned into a ballet by the choreographer George Balanchine. Here's his music with nerve endings and sometimes disturbingly close to the service. I'm breaking you in gently here, but if you have a stomach for it, there's a whole new world to discover. So as always, I will I will put below the name of the piece. So that if you would like to now pause it when I'm listening to it. Oh, Dolce Mio. Just David doing a pop off there. Right, okay, cool. I'm going to listen to this. It's 4 minutes and 14 seconds long. And do a little bit of cross stitch, and then we'll liaise again. Go. I'll tell you what, there is something about listening to classical music whilst doing cross stitch that really makes you think that you are Anne Boleyn or Jane Seymour, just sat in your court doing your little bit of tapestry. I did not enjoy that piece of music at all. It was assaulting, I would say. I'm not a mad one for ones that have singing in anyway. So yeah, it felt very all-encompassing, which, I mean, Clemency did mention that in the blurb, that was potentially how I would feel. So yeah, didn't love it, but have done 2 lines of the Queen of Hearts forehead. So we'll continue with that until the spinning is done, and then I'll be on my way. And this has all worked out quite perfectly because the library has now reopened from its 90-minute lunch break. So great news for that as well. Great timing for everyone. You should be able to hear the tumble dryer in the background. Got myself a couple of little chocolate eggs. Got myself a cup of tea. I wish I had a cup of tea. There's no milk. And I've been to the library. Now, none of the books are there. I asked the woman who works there, who I have quite a lot of dealings with, and she said, she sort of laughed at me that I would think that a book that had been sent 2 days ago would be here today. So she said the earliest it will probably be here is Tuesday. But that's fine. It does change things up a little bit, because it means I was hoping I'd be able to start one, but because, like I said, the book maths are that I have to get one read every 6 days between now and I think it's the 24th of June. But I've got one. It's on audio, but I've got one. So we'll continue with that and hopefully have that finished by Monday. And then Monday, when I go into work, I can go to the library and pick up Night Bloom. So I will have one on the go. So that's fine. So I'm going to sit here and read the rest of You Don't Know What War Is. But also, just to let you know, from the library I picked up Speak Okinawa, a memoir by Elizabeth Nicky Brynja. I think maybe Mercedes had included this as one of her reads that she was looking forward to this year. Elizabeth Nicky Brynja's parents met at a nightclub in Okinawa. Her mother was a waitress, born and raised on the Japanese island, impoverished, living through the long aftermath of the Second World War. Her father was a soldier from a middle-class American family. Elizabeth grew up in the 1980s in Fairport, New York, a predominantly white suburb. She found her mother embarrassing, her accent, her culture, the features she'd inherited. She longed to be like the other kids at school. She began to rebel, breaking away from home in even more self-destructive ways. It took the breakdown of a relationship for Elizabeth to reassess what love and belonging meant. Speak Okinawa is a courageous and heartbreaking account of her journey home, back to herself, back to Okinawa, and back to the mother she had pushed away for so long. This is a story about a mother and a daughter, and a story about the island of Okinawa, from its first inhabitants to its colonialisation by Japan and the United States. But above all, it is a story about reckoning with your history and the links that tie you to your heritage and give you a sense of home within yourself. Sounds really good. And then I've got Winter Animals by Ashani Lewis. I again wonder if this is from because I put so many reservations on books when I'm watching videos, so whether it be long list for things, people's favourite books of the year, books that people are looking forward to this year. In one of America's happiest cities, 38-year-old Ellen is trapped under the shadow of the snow-capped Cascade Mountains. Her husband has left her. Her belongings are in the boot of her car. Her days are filled mostly with silence and drinking. When she meets 4 English teenagers in an empty bar, she's enamoured. Luca, Clover, George and Lynn are wealthy squatters, drifting between ski resorts and breaking into empty Airbnbs. When they bring Ellen into their fold and into their messy, entangled relationships, she senses a violent secret that fuels the four's never-ending disappearing act. Dazzling, cultish and intensely committed to creating their own utopia, they force Ellen to ruminate on the irresistible pull of bright young things. She doesn't understand what they want from her, but how can she leave when she has nowhere to go? A dark meditation on the dangers and seductive power of youthful idealism and the slippages between friendship and love, Winter Animals is an extraordinary debut examining freedom, friendship, desire and excess. I wouldn't be surprised if that is on Mercedes' most anticipated books, because that sounds like a book Mercedes would like. This is All the Little Bird Hearts by Victoria Lloyd Barlow. I think I got this because maybe people were saying it was going to be long listed for the women's prize. But yeah, this has only just come out in paperback, and you know I love me a paperback. Sunday Forrester lives with her 16-year-old daughter Dolly in the house she grew up in. She does things more carefully than most people and is happiest amongst the plants at the nursery where she works. Her etiquette handbook guides her through confusing social situations, and to escape she turns to her treasury of Sicilian folklore. The one thing very much out of her control is Dolly, her clever, headstrong teenage daughter. Into this world step Vito and Rollo, a glamorous couple who move in next door, disarm Sunday with their charm and proceed to deliciously break just about every rule in Sunday's book. Soon they're in and out of each other's homes, and Sunday feels loved and accepted like never before. But beneath Vita's charisma lies a desperation and a certain entitled ambition to have a daughter just like Dolly, all to herself. There we go. Then Molly McGee's Jonathan Abernathy, You Are Kind. Jonathan Abernathy is a loser, unemployed and behind on his student loan repayments. The only thing Abernathy has is in abundance is debt. When a secretive government loan forgiveness program allows him a job he can literally do in his sleep, Abernathy thinks he's found his big break. He finds himself entering the dreams of white-collar workers, flagging their anxieties for removal at night so they'll be more productive in the day. If Abernathy can at least appear competent at this new job, does he have a chance at new life? As Abernathy tries to find his footing in this new gig, reality and morality begin to warp around him. Soon the lines between life and work, right and wrong, and even sleeping consciousness have blurred, and Abernathy begins to wonder what he might have signed away. Wildly imaginative, laced with black humour and full of close-to-the-bone truths, Jonathan Abernathy, You Are Kind is a cult workplace novel that's like nothing you've ever read before. Now, I quite like a workplace novel. I think this recommendation came from the Sarah Cox show. So, yeah, and I've read some great books from there. Like, they really recommend page turners. And then the last one I've got here, as well as a receipt, is one of the long-listed books for the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction. This is Leah Redmond Chang's Young Queens, 3 Renaissance Women and the Price of Power. It's much bigger than I thought it was going to be, although I should have known. Non-fiction books. The gripping story of 3 young women who came of age and into power in a world dominated by men. Orphaned from infancy, Catherine de Medici endured a tumultuous childhood. Married to King Henry II of France, she was widowed by 40, only to become the power behind the French throne during a period of intense civil strife. In 1546, Catherine gave birth to a daughter, Elizabeth de Valois, who would become Queen of Spain. 2 years later, Catherine welcomed to the nursery the beguiling young Mary, Queen of Scots, who would become her daughter-in-law. These years at the French court bound Catherine, Elizabeth and Mary to one another through blood and marriage, alliance and friendship, love and filial piety, bonds that were tested when they were forced to part and take on new roles in different kingdoms. As queens, they lived through sea changes that transformed 16th century Europe, a time of expanding empires, religious discord and popular revolt. They would learn that to rule was to wage a constant war against the deeply entrenched attitudes of their time. A crown could exalt a young woman, equally it could destroy her. Drawing on new archival research, Young Queens masterfully weaves the personal stories of Catherine, Elizabeth and Mary into one compelling narrative. It paints a picture of a world in which even the most powerful women lived at the mercy of the state, their lives sacrificed to the will of husband, family and kingdom. So when the Women's Prize for Non-Fiction was announced, this was one that really piqued my interest. You'll know that I don't think it was last year, I think it was the year before, the big reading project where I read through 6 of oh my god, I've forgotten her name. The 6 Tudor Queen series. Who on earth was that written by? Not Philippa Gregory. No, I can't remember who it was written by, but I read through those and yeah, really enjoyed them. Oh my god, historical author. Not Philippa Gregory. 6 Tudor Queen series. Alison Weir. I was going to say Catherine Weir. Catherine of Aragon. So I've already got a sort of interest in that period of history. Now obviously this predates that, but there will be some links to it, and love to see a family tree at the top of this book. So yeah, I think maybe if I finish this, maybe I'll dip into that, because I need to be able to stop whatever I'm reading so that I can crack on with Night Bloom when that arrives on Monday. But anyway, let's continue. I think the washing's been in about 15 minutes, so I've got a good hour here at least. I've been here about an hour and it's almost done, but I did just finish You Don't Know What War Is by Ewa Skaliecka. Just astounding really that a 12-year-old can find time in those days of war to pull together this piece of work and then revisit it, a time of turmoil and misery, and present it to us to learn from what that's like. Very much reminded me of course, When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit by Judith Kerr, which was a diary, semi-autobiographical book about Judith Kerr's time during the Second World War. Yeah, just unbelievable that this is still happening, and nowadays with what's happening with Palestine even more so. But yeah, well done Yeba for pulling this together. And it's so beautifully sort of illustrated and stuff as well as being full of sort of text messages between her and her friends, and the inclusion of her friends' stories at the end is just such a lovely thought. So text messages between her and her friends, photos throughout. Every day starts with headlines from the paper that day, and then these gorgeous maps of Kharkiv, which is where she's from, and all of these places where she lived, where they escaped to start with, and then the same with their journey. Just, yeah, really important thing. Very, very important. So there we go. So will I have time to start? I don't know. I'm going to go and have a little feel of the towels and see how dry they are. And if not, I'm going to start one of these, because I didn't bring Lobster with me, despite saying I would. Yeah, so I think I'll wrap this up now, do my review on Instagram. Read that in one day. That's if I've got any battery left. I've got 4% battery. That should be enough. I'll do that now. Home. My mother rang me while I was round there and said, oh, I texted her to say, I've just popped round to see how everything was, and I've put on some tumble dryer. But yeah, the towels are lovely. I do think it makes a difference, doesn't it? Especially when it's not like blowy or consistently dry outside. Because previous towels we've always dried on the radiators or on the air, and they just go so crispy. But we've had these since, well, just before January, and they're so soft still and lovely after putting them in the tumble dryer a couple of times. Anyway, David's just finishing up with work. I did start Young Queens. I read the prologue, which was quite long actually, and then the first couple of pages of the bit about Katerina de Medici's life. Literally, like, I'm learning about how her mum and dad met, so very early. I think this is going to be good. I like this writing, Leah Redmond Chang's writing. It feels accessible and readable, but yeah, I think I'm going to dip in and out of this. It's so heavy and so long. It's like over 400 pages long, not even including the bibliography. Yeah, so it is 416 pages long, and I'm not even at page 16 yet. So, well, the prologue was all in Roman numerals, so they tricked me a bit there. But there we go. So I think the plan, David, would you like to come and join me for the plan? Daphne's coming for the plan, you're coming for the plan. Come on, Daphne. She's run away. Feel how bad my hands are. No popping off on the video.
I wasn't on camera then, so it's
yeah, but you can still hear it. This is my life, just having to put up with all this popping off. No, naughty, isn't it? So sorry.
Sorry.
Right, what's the plan then?
We're going to
start watching the Australian Traitors series this evening. David also wants to take a brief break to watch Gogglebox, which is on at 9.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of cross stitch to be getting on with whilst it's all happening.
Yeah, we certainly have.
Boop, boop, boop. I would like to have a bath.
Yeah.
I would like to...
Should we have early bath?
Yeah. I need to get a photo of my outfit though.
A perter.
Perter. So maybe we'll go outside for the perter. Ooh,
what? I haven't got outside trousers on.
You'd rather do it in here, would you?
I mean, we could go outside. I've been outside and worse.
Yes. And
not in my knickers.
Not in your knickers. And then we're having paneer curry tonight, because I bought some paneer in the shopping last week, and I've got some frozen bits that I can add to it and a nice sauce.
Frozen bits?
Well, like a frozen celery, onion, and carrot base.
Like frozen.
Oh no. Yeah, I know what you mean. Samosas and stuff. None of that. But then when I had a look and got an email earlier about the gusto we've got coming this weekend, 4 recipes, 3 of which are paneer. Luckily we really like paneer, because we've got paneer tonight and paneer tomorrow night. So yeah. So should we go and do the
paneer Sunday?
Poto. Go and do the poto. Then baths.
Yeah, yeah. Because I suppose I I'll be way done with work by the time you've bathed, so...
I'll read a book in the bath. I don't think I'm going to read the Young Queen's book because it's so heavy to read in the bath. So maybe I'll pick one of those as a paperback that I could read, because there's every chance I could look at the body language between us. There's every chance I'll get that finished by the end of Monday, because that's when the new books come in. They didn't have any of my books, and when I asked her, she sort of laughed me out of there.
Oh.
I know.
Bit like in Jingle All the Way when he was going in shops asking for Turbo Man.
Maybe a bit like that, yeah. She also said to me, because I said, oh, I'm desperate for one of them to come in, and she said, oh, are you really keen to read it? And I said, well, I'm reading the Women's Prize for Fiction long list. And she was like, what? I was like, you're a librarian. Would you not know about that? I don't know, my echo chamber, I don't really know what other people know about. I think everyone's interested in the same sort of things that I'm interested in. Like this guy! Right, should we go do all of that then? Go do the poto.
Poto.
Morning! I'm in my All About the Archers official t-shirt because it's All About the Archers morning. Not morning, but we're interviewing the actor Holly Chapman, who plays Alice Carter in The Archers. However, my Wi-Fi is just being wild at the moment. We've had 3 really important things for All About the Archers this week. The first one being that Philippa, who basically runs the whole thing, wasn't very well. So I hosted on Tuesday and my internet wasn't working very well then. Then on Thursday, we had our Patreon first live event. My internet wasn't working very well then. And my download speed, I mean, I don't know what this means, but Philippa says it should be around 50. It's like 5.45. So I've just turned off and turned on again the router in the hope that it will be okay. Because you can't have me dropping in and out of the interview. It's very, very annoying. So yeah, but I've never had Wi-Fi problems before. I've been doing this since September. Never had Wi-Fi problems. And I've got some really good questions to ask Holly, so yeah. David and I last night, David's nipped out to do some errands. He's getting some stuff for his Mother's Day brunch tomorrow. He's getting his mum a nice bunch of flowers. And he's nipped out. Last night we stayed up till 2:20 watching the second series of the Australian Traitors, which is just chaos. It's just an absolute hot mess. And yeah, I'm not enjoying it as much as I enjoyed the first series. Weirdly, they've made the decision to put some sort of like Australian celebrities in there. They're mainly people who've been on reality TV. Which feels like a bizarre choice, and I've heard that that is also what happens in the American one, which is why we swerved watching the American one. We went straight to the Australian one. Hello, Dappy. You coming over? But yeah, it's just been a bit chaotic. But we continue. It's only 9 episodes as well, and there's only 20 contestants. I've also got a sneaking suspicion, just looking to see if my internet's up and running. I've also got a sneaking suspicion that it was filmed before the first series come out. There's not many, no one alludes to the first series. And also I wonder if they were trying a couple of formats, because there's different formats in the first and second series. I mean, if you're not into the Traitors, this is going to be so boring to you. But in the first series, there's no celebrities. In the second, there is. It's shorter, there's less people. They've got differences with getting the shield. So the shield in the first series gave you immunity from banishment and murder. In the second series there's a shield room, which happened in the first series of the UK one, and it only gets you only allows you not to be murdered. Yeah, I don't know if they've maybe tried a few formats before they put it all out, but yeah, the second series has not been as good, but we will continue to watch it tonight. So we've only got 4 more episodes, and the whole plan for this weekend was to watch the whole thing, but we're going to watch a film tonight as well. But yeah, anyway, my internet's back up and running. I'm going to do a little speed test just before I go on. Wi-Fi speed check. If Philippa's watching back this, know that I'm being a good girl and doing my speed check before I go on. I wonder if my speed check isn't great. Oh, it's great. It's 49. 50. Oh, delighted. Oh, Philippa, I'm delighted. Lovely. 50. Let's get in there. Right, I'll see you all after the Alice interview. Looking forward to it. I've got some good questions for 50.2. Oh, 49.33. We've had a solid afternoon of it, guys. David has now completed the young chap from Pinocchio, and he started on this, who is the villain in The Rescuers. But there is no way that this is going to fit on this. So we need to think of other things. I'm thinking maybe we cut it off and then add another section on. And when we frame it, it might be able to hold it all. You can see it's definitely taking shape with the ear here. But once David's finished this, I'll start on my next one. But whilst David's been doing that, and we've completed the whole second series of The Australian Traitors, which we didn't enjoy as much as the first series of The Australian Traitors, and we've just heard that it's been cancelled, the third series. I've done this little disco ball for my sister. I'm very, very pleased with this. I bought this pattern, so I think this might be being made for a few people. And I've actually got, I don't know if you can see it, but that's actual silver. I feel like it looks very good from afar. Oh, now I've gone all out of focus. Focus. But yeah, very good. And then I've just started making myself a little Easter bookmark, because we've also got felt that I would like to try and back this bookmark onto. So yeah, so that's what we've been up to. And David's going to pick us a film to watch this evening, but we've just been watching a bit of Crufts, and I said, oh, let's do something else. So we're going to play, I've barely been on bloody screen the whole time. We're going to play Fungi, which is a card game for 2 players, which I really enjoy playing. And we played for the first time. David got me this for Christmas, and we played it for the first time, not last weekend, the weekend before. And then I took it to my mum and dad's, and me and my dad played a game, and me and my sister played a game. So I feel like because we own a lot of games, I need to keep playing the games to remind myself how to play them. So, and I love the card game. So does David, although he doesn't love this one as much. But the artwork on it is beautiful. It's all mushrooms, and you have to sort of collect different mushrooms and cook them, and you get different points, extra points if you cook them with butter or with cider, and yeah, more points for more mushrooms. There's night mushrooms. It's very fun. Very, very good. So yeah, so I guess we'll do that, and then David's going to make me dinner. And then we're going to watch films this evening, although it's only 5:30. I think because I woke up relatively early and felt like I did that interview with Holly that got everything done very quickly. How are you, David? What do you think of this card game? I don't know why you're sitting down, we're about to play it.
Well, I'm just going to do a little bit, while you're setting up, I'm just doing a bit of movie research.
You don't love this card game, do you? Even though he claims to love card games. Oh, we played a very good card game at your mum and dad's last weekend, didn't we?
Yeah, that was good.
Five Alive?
Yeah.
5 Alive?
Or 5 Lives.
5 Lives or something like that. I'll get the actual name of it tomorrow. That was quite fun. But I'm going to set Fungi up now. We've done the classic Friday reading vlog thing of skipping a few days. So many days, in fact. It's now Tuesday. So welcome to Tuesday. And this is going up on Wednesday, so that's why I'm wrapping it up now. Just having a little wipe down of... David and I have been eating a lot of paneer, as I'm sure I've mentioned. And last night's paneer was... It was lovely. It was paneer with a cucumber salad, but some of it involved oil, and it seems to have got a bit on the table. Anyway, I'm back now from work, and I'm just about to wrap up the vlog so that I can go and get the bath. It's freezing in the house, not even that cold outside, so I can go and have a little warm up, and then, yeah, Tuesday evening's plans are edit the All About the Archers podcast video, which goes up tomorrow. So that's my plan, but I thought I'd wrap up the vlog so I can edit this vlog before. So, we've already done the piece of music. I don't get any of my prizes because I didn't complete anything. Oh, the only other thing to mention is that I got Night Bloom out from the library yesterday, and I started it last night, but I was so tired last night that when I went to pick it up today and I saw I'd read 8 pages last night, I was like, I can't tell you one thing that happened in those 8 pages. So I read it again on my lunchtime. So I've only read like 10 pages of it, but yeah, it's very nice. But the question we had to answer was, do you pay attention to who the publisher is? Do you have a favourite publisher? Well, the truth of the matter is that I don't often pay attention to who the publisher is. But I'm aware of publishing. I think it's because I do the booktube channel, publishers have contacted me to ask if they can send me stuff and things like that. But then when I had a little look at my favourite books up here, I noticed a lot were published by Virago, so that's the Daphne du Mauriers and Sarah Waters. And then I've got quite a few published by Pam Macmillan or Picador, so all of the Cazalet Chronicles, they're Pam Macmillan, and This Is Going to Hurt is Picador, and the Bridget Jones's Diaries one. So maybe I do, like, and I'm always excited by the sort of bigger, like my Call the Midwife book and things like that. So yeah, maybe I do. I don't even realise, but would be interested in hearing from you guys. Do you pay attention to who the publisher is? Do you have a favourite publisher? The date today, I haven't got my Fitbit on, so what is the date today? I think it's the 12th. We'll find out. No, we won't find out. David, is it the 12th today?
Yes.
Lovely. And I'm going to read out there's either Tarantella by Hilaire Belloc or From the Lady of Shalott by Alfred Lord Tennyson. I think we'll go for Tarantella by Hilaire Belloc. A tarantella is a fast, upbeat dance that is supposed to mimic the feverish, frenzied effect of a spider bite. It literally means tarantula in Italian, or of falling in love. This poem, with its repetitions and one-word lines, captures the swift and relentless rhythm of the dance being described. Ooh, let's get going. You ready, Daphne? Do you remember an inn, Miranda? Do you remember an inn? And the tedding and the spreading of the straw for a bedding, and the fleas that tease in the high Pyrenees, and the wine that tasted of tar, and the cheers and the jeers of the young muleteers under the vine of the dark veranda? Do you remember an inn, Miranda? Do you remember an inn? And the cheers and the jeers of the young muleteers who hadn't got a penny, who weren't paying any, and the hammer at the doors and the din, and the hip, hop, hap of the clap, and the hands to the swirl and the twirl, of the girl gone chancing, glancing, dancing, backing and advancing, snapping out the clapper to the sign, out and in, and the ting-tong-tang of a guitar. Do you remember an inn, Miranda? Do you remember an inn? Nevermore, Miranda, nevermore. Only the high peaks hoar, an arrogant a torrent at a door. No sound in the walls of the halls where falls the tread of the feet on the dead to the ground. No sound but the boom of the far waterfall like doom. Well, that was very fun to read out. So there we go. Another Friday reading vlog for you, extending into Tuesday. I hope your Wednesday's being lovely, and I'll see you all again soon for another butcher video. Goodbye!